नमाज़िक सामने तारीगी सिर आया हूँ मानिए अव्वला फिर ये दस्त बस्ता है पीछे हाजिर जो सल्तनत आगे कर गई थी नबी रहमत शफी उम्मत रज़ा पे
We'd love to meet you. Pay us a visit. Radio Al-Ansar.
Every student can learn, just not on the same day or the same way. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. Education's purpose is to replace an empty mind with an opened one.
Join Sumaya Khan every Tuesdays between 7 and 8 p.m. for an educational evening exclusive to Radio Al-Ansar.
Your education is a dress rehearsal for a life that is yours to lead. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to School Matters. Yes, your producer and presenter, I'm Sumaya Khan. Alhamdulillah, we all are well with the grace of the Almighty. We are thankful, making shukr for all that we have. Well, very interesting topic. It's been on everyone's lips in education for the last, I'll say, 5 years or so. The Department of Basic Education in South Africa has recognized the importance of preparing learners for the fourth industrial revolution. You know, I should have one of these guests coming on radio, if anyone knows, from Oval, Praveen Maraj, and he used to talk about the industrial revolution and AI. I'm talking like 8 years ago, and it has materialized. You know, so as a result, coding and robotics is being integrated into the national curriculum, especially in the foundation phase, that's grade R to 3, intermediate phases, grade 4 and 6, and gradually it will be in the senior phase and FET phase. Coding and robotics, what it is, its aim is to develop problem-solving and critical thinking skills, you know, to introduce learners to foundational concepts of coding, robotics, and digital literacy. Wow, that's a mouthful. Well, encourage creativity, collaboration, and logical reasoning, and the bridge of the digital to divide and promote equity in technology access. Well, pilot programs began in many of the government schools and private school, I'd say, around 2021, 2020, 2022. The full rollout, Department of Education planned for progressive inclusion in the national CAPS curriculum from 2023 onwards. So the subject focus, let's break it down. Coding. Coding is the basic programming logic using visual tools like Scratch, a Scratchbook, and a Dr. Blocky. Robotics. Hands-on learning using kits like coding and robotics. You wonder, why is Lego involved? Well, as you know, Legos, you mindstorms, you know, or locally sourced kits is where you put things together. And digital literacy, understanding how computers and the internet works. Well, there are many challenges, especially in the government sector, in schools. The infrastructure, many schools lack, reliable electricity, internet, or computing devices, and this is a harsh reality. Teacher training. Educators need to upskill their effective skills, especially in this subject. And many say about 80 to even 90% of educators in the government sector are not trained professionally in coding and robotics. Resource gaps. Yes, urban and private schools are often better equipped than rural ones, depending on inequalities. You know, it's quite overwhelming for educators. That's why we have Sister Amina Sheikh, an educator, a lecturer, and I know someone who's very, very involved in coding and robotics. Not a first time to School Matters. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thank you for having me on your show.
Great meeting you at that Walima. See you back on.
Yeah, great. It was fun.
The food was very nice. Huh?
Hey, amazing.
Biryani.
Really.
Biryani is a winner. Yeah, coding and robotics, for many educators, it's like teaching French.
Mhm.
Teaching French. It's like until you break it down. And, sometimes when I did a workshop on this like 4 years ago, there were educators who were actually honest. They said they don't know what the darn hell this is. And we are teaching for 35 years and 30 years and we are on our way out. But you have to constantly upgrade your skills.
Correct.
And as an educator, you're always learning.
Correct.
So tell us, break it down for us, break it down, Let's explain why coding and robotics are important subjects for students from grade R to 9. We complain there's no computers. We complain the computers are getting stolen. We complain we have no resources, no funding. It is the truth, especially in the government sector, but we're also looking for excuses to just hold back.
That's 100% correct. Really. Well, let's just go a bit back, right?
Yeah.
For the parents, grandparents, and family members that are not aware of coding and robotic, right? I take you back to the first industrial revolution, 18th century. That is your time. In that time, what did we have? Wow, I'm still impressed. I even went on a steam engine lately, right? Train. So what happens is at that time, they had the steam engine. They used to use water and steam for power. Students were educated about it at that time in schools, right? Then we came to second industrial revolution. In that, electricity was introduced from the late 1800s to the First World War, right? So what happened there? They introduced steel, electricity, and combustion engines were used, okay? So mass production occurred. The stress came about. Humans are going to lose their jobs. The machinery is taking over the mass production and so on. But these were now introduced to students in school as well. Now coming to the third industrial revolution, automation and globalization. The digital revolution occurred around the 1900s. So now we're looking at a little bit of our parents and so on.
Before you continue, for you who are listening to me, I got a black... what's this, A4 hardcover book, and I'm writing with a pen, and you're talking robotics and well, I think many are like me. I feel sometimes technology lets us down.
No, it's a tool. Your phone is a tool.
And sometimes, I don't know if it's old age, you have to put your lenses or glasses and really look when you're typing. But then we'll master it, inshallah.
Yeah, so as I was telling you, right? So 1980s, that's where we come about. I don't know about you, but me, I know. We are in school, and what we learned about computers, the first time the computer came on the TV and the box attached to it.
What was it, typing before?
Yes, typing lessons you had at school, and you went for that lesson. I remember doing that, and then we were amazed. And then the digital situation came about. The internet was introduced, and people were panicking that it's costly to be connected to the internet. Then what happened? We had the fourth industrial revolution. They again, digital, right? So we start off the 21st century. Now what we got? AIs. People hear AI, artificial intelligence.
Gosh, it's so real.
Robots, IoT, which is Internet of Things. We have... when you talk about these, right? The students in today are using augmented reality. Your phone has that.
Yeah.
Virtual reality for games, okay? Gaming part of education came about. Now we are in the fifth industrial revolution. So for everybody to firstly understand, the children are learning that part. So personalization, where we're taking the 21st century, the innovation purpose, the inclusivity, deep multiple level cooperation. And then what we're doing, we're creating machines. Okay, so when we talk about machines, before I come to the subject coding and robotic, what it means, when I first heard the subject name, because I have a passion for computers, so I thought in the computers, I studied degree, etc. with it. But when it came to hearing coding and robotics, when I heard the word robot, I thought of, your movies, Iron Man and Terminator.
Transformers and all of this.
Yes. How the hell are we going to be making
Robocop.
Yes,
Robocop.
that's correct. And now what do we do? And that's where people and teachers and parents started panicking when they heard it.
But you mentioning that when it first came into our country and got introduced, it's like some institutions, schools, individuals were purchasing little robots, and the prices were like nothing less than 3,000 rand. So I think it also gave us that mindset. We need to own a robot to do coding and robotics.
That's what was
and a lot of
implemented in everybody's
people,
minds.
You know, and I'm saying this on air. A lot of people contacted me, can we do a show on coding and robotics? And I'm selling robots. Yes, you're listening to me right now, 100% true. And I had to say no, because they want to market robots. They're getting robots from China, toy robots.
Correct. Actually, somebody had seen the poster and had sent me also to say, please promote my robot kits. But it's not about that. Firstly, you got to think, right, what is coding? Coding is basically programming. Now, if you like computers and programming, this is for you. But now from grade R to 9, they have to learn it. Why? It is essential. What is programming? Instructions. How to put on a clothes, how to walk right, direction-wise, left, right. You're taking it and you're putting it into a program. That program can be used, which is commonly mentioned as in schools are being using, which I use with my students, is scratch programming. So they learn the coding and then they create their own from there. So that's one part. Coding and robotics. So coding is instructions given, right, to a robot. So now, robot, can I ask you this question right now? Is Durban a smart city?
Crime is high, so definitely smart.
Well done. Why? Not because of that. Your traffic lights, is somebody standing there switching on and off?
You're talking about that. Which province was it? These guys went to, was it FNB? And they dug tunnels under and they stole a couple million from the bank. This was like, wow. I actually had to like listen to it on the news because it seemed like a movie.
Correct. I remember reading that article as well. And it was shocking to see the pictures of it as well. But coming back to this now, I'm going to ask you a question here. Is your home a smart home?
Yes.
Well done.
Oh, with technology.
Well done. Every one of you, whether your child, whether you have a computer in your house or not, you have a smart home.
We started off with the microwave.
Very good. Aircon. Your lights, the switch on and off is coded. So when you go on, it's one. When you are typing the letter A on a computer, the computer reads it as 010, and then it projects it with the letter you're wanting. So same with the light switch. On will be 1, off will be 0, etc. So there are lots of children that I've thought have actually tried this at home as well. You get apps, you look for apps that are matching your aircon, your television, you program it, even your remotes.
From your cell phone.
Thank you. So, and now, can you believe it? The old toasters are now improved, upgraded. You have digital toasters. So when you switch it on, you press the button, how warm, how hot. Your microwave, you can control it via an app. So are you every morning getting up, taking the water, boiling it outside, coming in, pouring it in the pot? No, you've got a kettle. The kettle you switch on, beep, or it goes off. That's now your robot in your house. Every one of you has a smart home. And you got to thank Allah for that. Because without that and without your reading and your appreciation, you will be, which they always say is we never satisfied.
So it's like we came like with this big boom and scared everybody. And even those who were marketing or trying to generate revenue really never knew what it was all about.
Correct. So what was going on, right? So as I said the word now, robotics, right? So robotics is basically electronics, mechanics, programming with the coding attached to it. And then what happens? You get like a remote control car. It's controlled by your remote, your drones, etc., which is the programming, the robots, right? Now, the point you just mentioned now, people started panicking. Oh, wow, what do we do? Or what are we going to do? We have to buy the kits. It's so expensive. Firstly, the subject came from education department. Yes, I know our education department needs an upgrade, but it came from there. So when it came from there, they had considered every school, every rural school, every underprivileged school. Okay, so it's not that, A, I don't have a computer, I don't have the technology, we can't teach it, I don't know how to teach it. It starts with you. Okay, so when it comes to you, you need to actually tell yourself, I need to understand. You know, when it comes to EMS, right? Students do EMS in school. When they do EMS and they do well, or they do natural science and they do well. So natural science, they go to do physics, biology, life science. EMS, what do? They go to do accounting. So there wasn't one for the coding and the robotic. I mean, let me rephrase that. When it comes to doing CAT, which is computer application technology, IT, information technology, and the rural schools have electronic engineering, etc. They didn't have subjects to take them in that direction. Okay, so now they've implemented that subject. So this coding and robotic is for that purpose, not to buy a fancy robot, put it there, assemble it, that's it. You have a syllabus to follow.
And so many educators, I know you'll be nodding now, you use their own monies to purchase those kits. And
Correct.
Some of them started off from 3,000 onwards to 5. And you needed this kit to start.
Now, the whole, to be honest, I've done studies with various universities regarding coding and robotic, and I haven't went to the extent of buying to provide, because it's amazing these students, how they know what the content is. They know more than you because they are living in the digital world. Okay. So when it comes to this now, if you're doing coding and robotic and you like it, automatically grade 10, 11, 12, those subjects will be fine for you, which will flow for you in university, which is again, computer science, IT, electronic engineering. So it's a pattern that's flowing for you. A simple thing like learning IoT, automation, how to, for the children, which we are not at home, we tell them, don't switch it on, don't go there, don't go on that side, don't go on this side. But they're not understanding why they're not going on it. So at school in coding and robotics, they're learning the sections, pros and cons of social media, of cybersecurity. What are those terminologies? How must they behave? Mannerism on the internet, because we always taught them stranger danger. So here is the form where we are teaching them in coding and robotics these aspects as well. And then it varies from grade R to 3. It's unplugged coding.
How would, going to the curriculum and the learning approach, how would you structure the coding curriculum for grade R? Let's start with the grade R learners.
Okay, so for the grade R, right up to grade 3 foundation, it's unplugged. Okay.
Explain to our listeners what is unplugged.
Right. Okay. We have plugged coding. We have unplugged coding. So unplugged is no electricity, no computers. Okay. I repeat, no computers, no kits. Okay. And plugged coding is where you can incorporate computers.
Is that boats and tangents?
Yes, bolts and tangents, tangible. Tangibles, they have it free online with puzzles. But besides that, grade R, the focus should be on foundational concepts using play-based learning, not getting a robot and putting it in front of them, okay? Or the Legos and putting it together.
That's the norm.
Right. I would introduce coding through simple activities that emphasizes logic and sequencing. Now, parents don't have the time to do that with their children. They are so occupied with their own being, health, wealth, work, etc. So the teacher has to implement it, like storytelling, games which are unplugged games, as you mentioned, like the tangible one, or like simple games that you used to do, board games. It falls under the unplugged coding. Okay. Then students move characters or objects in a sequence manner, put all the blues together, all the reds together, patterns, right? These activities, students' concepts like pattern sequencings and cause and effect relationship without the need to write crucial codes. So when I'm talking about this, so you're going to tell me, so what aspects when I talk about that? Sorry, I just wanted to tell you that grade R to grade 3, you have application skills, problem solving and pattern recognition. So they identify similarities, differences, maths, algorithm. I'll tell you what's algorithm later. Internet and e-communication. So you're teaching them theory of computers. You're teaching them safety, from grade R, okay? Then coding, as I told you, unplug coding. Robotics part we teach them is the mechanical. Like example, the wire. The wire here now, you look at it, it's got a plastic over it, whether it's a conductor, insulator, etc. So now, what I'm telling you at this moment is that we have STEM. For those that don't know what STEM, it's science, technology, engineering, maths. That's all incorporated in coding and robotics. Okay. So what happens now? You're teaching the child different aspects in coding and robotic about household appliances, about household patterns in the
So you're
house.
starting with the basic items.
Correct.
But
that's it.
Again, one would never say. We like even for parents, like coding and robotics. Why is the school doing this here? How it's going to benefit my child? What job is my child going to get?
Yeah,
and it's unnecessary cost. This is the harsh reality.
And this is the sad thing, because what happens is parents are not being educated on this field of coding and robotics. Then they're getting the other impression that it is buying kits, buying Legos, buying and assembling, and that's it. It's not that. If you look at the curriculum, the caps that we follow, it's amazing, the content. In fact, my teachers tell me, you know what, Amina, the content is too much. Will we finish it in the time? I said, yes, you just flow with it. It's shocking how the students
enjoy it.
They respond. You don't have to even tell them the next point of that
now,
topic.
You know, let's look at assessments, right? How do we assess the learner's progress in coding and robotics?
Right. Now, there's different ways. People are confused right now, okay? So what happens is some teachers say, oh, no, we just give them a test as the assessment. It's not that. If you read the draft caps and you read the current caps that they've got, they've incorporated technology in the current caps one, right? So literally, like example, what I do is say, all right, let's say grade 4, okay? In our school, grade 4, they have built traffic lights, right? Your robots. So in the term 1, they did, grade 4s have done a portfolio on it, right? They've been directed how to do it, so they've got their portfolio. Term 2, which is now, they build the model. Model is where it doesn't move, right? So the structure of their traffic robot. Term 3, they will make it a protocol, right? Where it will have items that will move. So they'll have a circuit implemented for red, yellow, green. And how coding and robotics conclude with this assessment? In term 4, on Scratch program, they do the coding of that red, yellow, green of the robot. Then we get the Arduino, which is only that part needed. We attach it to the computer. We remove the cells, batteries from their circuit. We have that plugged onto a breadboard that we use. And as I say, voila, when they press enter, their robot will work on their own project. That's an achievement for that child in grade 4, which is how old?
But 10, 9.
Correct. That they've made a project of that form.
Exactly. How would you explain this? This one is a good one. Algorithm. How would you explain it? Let's to a grade 3 learner, even to an educator.
Okay. Tell me what are you maths wise?
I'm learning. I'm learning.
Me and maths, I've gone so good to the computer, doing things that I remind the children not to use their brains as well, right?
Yeah.
Algorithm, you always hear it in maths, right? But let's start with foundation.
Yeah.
How will I explain an algorithm? Because I just mentioned to you now that this taught in coding and robotics for grade R to 3 as a recipe for solving a problem. Just like a recipe tells you step by step how to make a cake, an algorithm tells a computer step by step how to complete a task. So for example, right, as I said, grade R, you asked me initially about grade R, how to get dressed in the morning.
Wow.
That falls under algorithm. And you don't realize, teachers that are teaching in foundation and grade R, that although it's a subject that's separate, that's supposed to be taught, you are already teaching it all along in the classroom.
So it's a fancy word, but it's the basic thing.
Exactly. So you're breaking down in steps, right? Like example, how to get dressed in the morning. Now, maybe the parents are just rushing and putting their clothes on, and then it becomes a teacher's situation to explain to them. So you're telling them, put on your shirt. Then you're going to put on your pants. Okay. That alone is the steps, the algorithm pattern. Okay. To help them understand the sequence and the logic behind it, right? This will include the learner learning about coping in their daily lives, yet completing a section in coding and robotics.
You simplified it so nice. That's why you're a lecturer. I'm being serious, because
Thank you.
generally, like, even when colleagues or educators or facilitators who attended courses, workshops, seminars, DOE seminars and stuff like that, they come back and they just start off from really high there, and like you feel like, do I need a dictionary to look for the meaning of the words, or okay, I'm tired now, I'm taking off whatever they're saying because it doesn't make sense. But you start from grassroots.
You see, if you're learning a subject, if it's not working for you in your daily lives, then you're defeating the purpose of learning it.
It's like you automatically got that, I don't want to do it.
Exactly.
Like the children.
So if you take example, a simple thing, coding and robotics, we speak about AI, IoT, Islamically, how advanced have we become? I am amazed to see how people, you think sometimes they're on their phone and you go to check, they're reading the Quran. Okay? They are...
Why going so far? If you're going for Umrah or Hajj, the Nusuk app.
There we go.
To actually go to the prophets.
So algorithm is used to put it into the system of the number pattern of where you'll fall in, the time system.
Exactly.
That's algorithm.
So we don't even know. We don't even know we're actually using it. We don't even know. How would you explain, what are some of the challenges learners might face with learning robotics, and how do we address them?
Okay. When it comes to grade 4 to 9 with the assessments and projects, people think they have to buy kits. If you go read,
I also thought that.
If you look at the CAPS study, the CAPS, both the draft and current, it says recyclable. So items that they use, and it's shocking. I've just had people presented to me today and yesterday, right? So I'm talking about grade 8s, a food security farm.
Wow.
With using only board. I've got people that have done a pulley system in grade 7 using only board material, string or shoelace or wool. Then I've got in, grade 6, we have aquaponics. They are actually putting the entire fish area at the bottom with the growing of the plants on the top. Okay, so you can see grade 9s, they are creating robots that will do tasks for themselves. So now you tell them, fine, there's lots of pollution all over. After school, you see it on the roads. Neat boards everywhere. Just pick them up if you don't have at home. Cut them out neatly and use them. Recycle. Pencils are being used and so on. So common challenges include difficulty understanding, right? How to make their projects. But when it, and then how to link between the hardware, which is the robot, and the software, which is the coding that they do. So that's a challenge that they come up with. But the smaller learners, the challenge the teachers may have is the direction which they must stand in or move in or focus in, which they have to be taught, which is the pattern method as well, right? The steps that they are using there, okay? So when it comes to the bigger grades 4 to 9, the troubleshooting, they have lack of basic programming. So we need, as teachers, you have to tell yourself, I need to learn how to use Scratch.
And you know what? I feel like when you're with your learners or kids, tell them I'm also learning like you. And especially when you're working out like math sums, what stuff, we're not there to act or be know-it-alls.
Correct. That's correct, because that's what I do. I actually learned a lot. There was a stage where the computers were not accessible and the students wrote their codes.
Yeah.
So when the computers were accessible after that, I was shocked. They didn't even ask for their assessment where they wrote it. They literally typed it on their own and it worked well. So correct. We learning all the time from them as teachers. So we mustn't think that we know it all. Education and the classroom is a learning experience for all. So it's teamwork. You learn from them. And believe me, students know a lot. When I take my VR to school for them to use because it's part of the syllabus, It's shocking. It's amazing to see some haven't seen it in their lives, some have used it, some haven't, and some that do so well with it, and they'll explain to you, hey, see, this is happening, that's happening, and then they understand, oh, now in a real world, augmented reality, this is happening. So they compare and they find differences. You got to make the student understand that it's not a machine, it's a tool being used in daily life. Whatever they're learning in technology or coding and robotic is to implement in their daily lives. If you do that, you and the student will be successful, and the thought of it being expensive or wrong will be out of your mind.
Now, the next one, I think lots of parents, even educators, will say, how does coding and robotics prepare our learners, our children, for the future? Are they going to get a job in it?
Yes, definitely. Right?
Break it down.
Right. First things first, every CV today, they ask you, are you computer literate? So computers are taught, right? Grade in schools, they teach you Microsoft Office, right? So you learn Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and companies use that, right? So you teach it to them in a gaming form. Like example, PowerPoint, you do a word search game Microsoft Word, you can teach them how to create a Ludo using table. Indirectly, they will learn the whole toolbar. So coming back to your point, these subjects are increasingly relevant in everyday life, okay? As technology continues to advance, right? The children have to learn, and parents have to learn. Why? You will not know, or you will have to understand and realize that in the future, your great-grandchildren, or you tell the students in your class, your grandchildren, when you are sitting at a restaurant, you're not sure if there's genuinely a person next to you on the next table, or is it a robot? Because you've got countries that have already got robots.
China.
There you go. Thank you. So how is it going to help you? It's going to help you to solve problems, engineering skills for the future, automation in modern industries. So at the end of the day, there will be technology that will contribute to shaping and making the task easier. Everything is becoming automated.
Do you know what? The next one, as an educator, right, we have so many discipline issues. We try to work with the learners. How can we foster, a positive classroom environment when we are teaching coding and robotics? How should it be? Should the children just be listening to you and sitting, or should they be working in pairs, groups, or how? Explain. This actually, lots of educators don't know.
So step one, change your mindset when you are teaching that subject. I know I had teachers that told me, how am I going to teach this? And they now are coping, which I'm amazed at.
Well, we'll take a short ad break and you can explain to us later.
Audio stream across the world on radioalansar.co.za.
The chaos and destruction in the Gaza Strip is beyond comprehension. Virtually everyone is displaced, hungry, and in urgent need of life-saving humanitarian support. The Al-Imdad Foundation has been working tirelessly to address the health, nutrition, and water needs of the population. Our hospital, water deliveries, and hot meal programs are made possible with your support. Your donation, big or small, is a lifeline for those in dire need. Help Gaza survive. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Welcome to Simplex Radio. Visit our showroom for the full range of car audio. Our TV department carries top brands with quality LED panels, full HD to Ultra HD, and now the experience of Super Ultra HD. Visit our theater rooms and transform your home with brands like Onkyo, Integra, Denon, Boston Acoustics, Yamaha, and more for quality audio visual experience. Now available, full range of home appliances. A one-stop shopping experience. Call 031 306 4029 or Kenilworth Park, 202 Brickfield Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
This Rabiul Awal, perform your Umrah with Show Mirage Travel from the 1st to the 14th of September 2025. Enjoy 6 nights in Medina and 6 nights in Makkah with full guided ziyarats. Flights from Johannesburg, visa, medical insurance, top hotels, all included. Prices from just 25,999 per person sharing. Personally escorted by the Show Mirage Travel team. Call 031-208-4222 or visit miragetravel.co.za. Show Mirage Travel, your trusted name in sacred journeys.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك.
We'd love to meet you. Pay us a visit. Radio Al-Ansar.
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, welcome back to School Matters. Well, coding and robotics. Yes, people, we're talking about AI. We're talking about robots. We're talking about, is it real or not real? Well, Sister Amina Sheikh, an educator, a lecturer, a specialist in coding and robotics, she's breaking it down for us and making it absolutely simple. We have messages coming. Salams, Appa Robocop, and Sumaya Transformer. My mum, Yasmin, says her favorite bot in her home is the washing machine. Salams. This message comes from Ibn Hassim. Yeah.
That's
Hashim,
correct.
Hashim.
That's correct. Your washing machine is the robot.
Appa Robocop.
Robocop.
Robocop. That's going to be a new name.
Robocop. Wow. I'd like to see my husband's reaction to that. Anyway, so we can see now, right? Well done. Your washing machine is your robot. Okay, there are people that are now buying. I was amazed how many students picked up their hand and told me, we've got a vacuum cleaner as a robot. It's a round circle that moves around the house and it just moves and it cleans. Amazing. So what you need to do is take these robots and make them work for you. If it's if you have a task to do and you are battling, take it, create it, make it and use it. You don't have to go and buy the best. Like I've always said, I know students tell me, oh, we get the latest phone or the latest computer. Yeah. So I tell them, you know what? The phone you have in your house, the computer you have in the house, the kettle in your house, not, wow, it's this name, so I need to get it. If it's doing its job, it's a tool in your house. It's the robot in your house. Let it be.
I mean, I would like to acknowledge all the guys, the people who are messaging on Facebook. Continue. We are definitely reading and we're having some good laughs. Yeah, we're having some really good laughs. Messages are coming. This one's from A.V. Mohammed. We need more private school as public school education has dropped. Good topic. But Department of Education is bankrupt. Billions of rands. How do we do it?
You got to help yourself in that classroom.
As every principal, every management, circuit manager will tell you, go to your community, fundraise, get them involved. It's like so many stages and steps.
So as a teacher,
I want to ask you something. How much do you steal from home and take to school?
By VR. A lot.
Tell me, in the holidays, don't you go stationery shopping? You
Yes.
don't plan it. Well, she gave me a pen. It's a very nice pen. I know last time you gave me, the writing is like so smooth.
It's good for schedules.
No, that's what I'm saying.
And
someone actually stole it last time.
Right.
Gave me another
So
one.
you see, it's the technology. That's it. Are you writing with the old system where you're using the feather dipped in? I know I've got my a collection from my parents, but
the wax too.
It's lying one side.
Yeah.
Even our children don't want to experience it because why? The technology is the pen.
Yeah.
The pen has got it. All you're doing is writing with it. Now the students tell me, so can't we get it automatic? So I said, well, I create it where it will move on its own. But remember, the more you write, the more you remember.
Exactly.
The more you read using your finger on the Quran, the more you remember.
But when you think about it, right, we speaking about them days, and then our kids will speak about us as them days.
Correct.
So as you're saying, technology
is that?
I mean, we ever thought we could take our photos on our phone? Think about it.
I actually took out all the old photos and, and it's now they say it's taking storage space and so on. So now, How do you save your photos from your phone? You get an external drive, you dump all in there, or you go onto the cloud and you store it there, which you pay for that amount. And yes, and when you need it, you just call it up and it's there. Okay, so now you need to take technology and make it useful for yourself. Coming to that point you just mentioned, okay, about private school should be implemented into the public school. You forget all that. You are the teacher in the classroom. You've got a lesson to teach. If that lesson is including an item you have in your hand, bring it. If not, speak to your principal. If your principal cannot assist you in getting it, but on many times, I know I become a pain sometimes when I speak to the principal, I over ask, and it's shocking. The responses you get, you'll get a plan B, a plan. With technology, with coding and robotic, you always got to have a plan B.
Exactly. But I think if you're an educator, it's like that motherly instinct where, okay, I'll make a plan. My learners, like in a government school, I'll say it right. NS grade 5s, I'm teaching. We need, metals. So the learners had to bring vinegar, lemon juice, things from home where we can shine and do. Very few brought. So my husband tells me, you never make pickle. This is like probably, 5 liters of vinegar. So I had to explain to him what it was. Bicarb. My bicarb is finished. Siraj, before he went, she was teasing me on the banana bread because my dad gave me fresh bananas from the garden. And I said, before it goes off, let me make banana bread. I had no bicarb. I improvised with, baking powder. But again, we want our children to learn. So we do whatever we have to do.
Actually, when you're doing, that's it. Islamically, what you are doing, that is why I love what I do. The passion that I have and the challenges I have here is amazing. I love what I do. The reason is when you are doing exactly what you said, Sumaya, right now, is you're not realizing you're doing your dawah work indirectly. Exactly. You are providing for the students in the class that could not have that. So you're getting it for them. You're making it a happy moment for them. And every teacher must make the lesson fun, because the child doesn't want to be sitting there and hearing the teacher saying, oh, but there's no finance, there's no this, there's no that. Make a plan. Always have a plan. Like example of coding and robotics, computers. You don't know when the load shedding is going to happen. You're going to have a plan B. You see, that's how it works.
But I think, as you say, it's also the educator, the mindset, do I want to change? Do I want to learn? Or I'm just comfortable? I feel sometimes when there's no change, you get lazy. There's no challenge.
That's correct. That was what you asked me just before we went on the ad break, is what you are responding to yourself.
Quick one before. Do you want to continue the show next week? Are you available?
Okay, we can check.
Okay, so we can't rush. We can take our time.
We can check.
Right. What would you say with coding and robotics? How do you stay up to date? This is something. How do we stay up to date as an educator?
Right. There are a lot of people that have been asking me this. I actually went through my phone right now and I had somebody that sends to me to ask me, how do I go and I learn about coding and robotic, right? So step one, which you need to do, okay, is you have done your B.Ed, right? At the same time, I believe in self-development. So I am learning all the time. I'm doing the amount of courses, short courses I've done. I've done also courses through DUT, Mandela University, etc.
Since you're talking about that, I think the simplest thing is network. If you're an educator, if you are a manager or principal or someone from another school who have the skills, expertise, share.
Right.
Because we need to do that.
Yes, but before
that's what you're doing.
Yes, okay, correct. That's what I'm doing here, right? A lot of people tell me, oh, why don't you have your own lessons and charge people? It's not that. It's about, as you're saying, how can you get it going?
Parting words. We're going to definitely continue next week, and I'm definitely going to get you on. Parting words to our listeners out there.
Okay, coding and robotics aren't just about technology. Whether you are a student or teacher or just curious, the skills you build today could shape the world tomorrow. Okay? So don't wait. Get involved. Stay curious and keep building items that will complete your task. Not just a robot to be there.
Exactly. Sister Amina, Next week, Tuesday, we're back on her. You listening to me right there. If you're a teacher, bring your iPad to take down notes. Not like me with a pen and a book. But once again, Jazakallah, you're just explaining to our listeners, I've learned so much because it's overwhelming at times. But Jazakallah again, and inshallah, we'll see you next week. Inshallah. I'd like to thank our tech Monty for making the show possible. My email address is sumayakhan.alansar@outlook.com. There's some info for you. Muslim scientist Ismail al-Jazari is known as the father of robotics. He documented 500 mechanical inventions, including programmable automation in his book, which was the year 1206. Yes, there we go. Be self-aware rather than a repetition robot. Assalamu alaikum.